Does Dame Lillard come to the market? And if he does come to the market, you look at the teams that have interest in Lillard.
Okay.
Breaking news, Jerami Grant's going to get $32 million a year every year for the next 5 years. That's right.
I tried to record this a couple of times at this point. I am so much in disbelief about this contract in particular. Let's get right down to it. We have a lot of videos to bring to you guys today. Before we get to the content, we announced the giveaway winners on my community tab for the $1,000 split between 5 subscribers that turn on our notifications on this channel. We're going to run it back, man. So if you subscribe and turn on our notifications, you'll enter for a chance to split $1,000 between 5 subscribers that also turn on their notifications on this channel. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. The NFL and NBA season are officially over, and I need something to hold me over until at least the NFL season comes back. So I've been playing prize picks for the WNBA and the MLB, and I've been fairly successful. It's a good way to get some extra action on games that I wouldn't really watch otherwise. I post my picks onto my Instagram story daily, and I've been hitting on a decent amount of them. And right now, when you use my promo code microphone, they'll double your deposit up to $100. Mic check 1212. What's going on, everybody? At this point, you guys might be sick of all the Portland Trailblazers content that we've created on this channel. It's one of those situations where I feel like I'm looking at a dumpster fire and I just can't look away at this point because I don't understand the direction of this franchise at all whatsoever. And every single time there's a clear path that they should take, it seems like they do a complete 180 at this point. So up until this point, we've been talking about Damian Lillard, how Damian Lillard wants to stay on the Portland Trailblazers, how he reminds us constantly about his loyalty, and how the Portland Trailblazers have said that they want to build a contender around Damian Lillard, despite their moves stating that they are doing the opposite. My favorite example is the 2022 trade deadline when they traded away CJ McCollum to the New Orleans Pelicans for Josh Hart, Thomas Satoransky, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and New Orleans first round pick that year, which is kind of a move you make to dump salary and to rebuild. And then they also sent Norman Powell and Robert Covington to the Clippers for Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a 2025 second round pick, which is a move that you make if you are trying to dump salary. Last year, they went after Gary Payton II and Jerami Grant, trading for Jerami Grant and, of course, signing Gary Payton II. After Gary Payton II played 15 games for the Trailblazers, they once again decided to trade him back to the Golden State Warriors. And despite the addition of Jerami Grant, who was very, very solid, might I add, and a career year from Damian Lillard, the Portland Trailblazers once again finished with a lottery pick. Last year, they were able to get the 7th overall pick and spend that pick on Shaedon Sharpe. And this year, they got the number 3 overall pick and quite literally spent it on another guard, Scoot Henderson. At this point, Damian Lillard has said multiple times that he's not interested in being part of a rebuild, despite the fact that Scoot Henderson said he'd love to try to make it work with Damian Lillard.
I think Dave should say it just because I think we just we combine our games, it'll be over. You know what I'm saying? We kind of complement each other's games. We're both fun to watch. So ticket sales will go up.
It seems like the Portland Trailblazers are consistently flip-flopping on their stance. You see, during the draft, Woj said that the Blazers want to keep building around Dame.
Portland wants to keep building around Damian Lillard. They want to try to continue to make some moves here. I know teams who called Portland about Damian Lillard in recent weeks and this week, and were immediately shut down.
And then Joe Cronin also said that he plans on keeping Damian Lillard on the Portland Trailblazers.
Still see Dame in our gym every day, or still meeting with Chauncey and I constantly, is because he wants this to work. He's bought in, he wants it to work here, and he's challenging us to get it done, which I think is more than fair, and he's earned that.
At this point, Damian Lillard hasn't requested a trade, and he has no interest in playing on a super team. He said his dream scenario was Draymond Green joining the Portland Trailblazers. Well, that's not going to happen because he agreed to a 4-year, $100 million contract with the Golden State Warriors. The situation is just very strange. They claim they want to build a contender around Dame, but they're not trading the number 3 pick for a player that could help Dame compete immediately. They're also not trading Dame, reportedly, reportedly. At least that's what they say, which I have trouble believing. So it seems like the Trailblazers are content with being in purgatory. Even furthermore, assuming they decide to keep Damian Lillard, who is coming off of the best season of his career after shooting 21 field goals per game, which is also a career high. The Portland Trailblazers also are going to start paying Dame $60 million a year annually, starting from the 2025 to 2026 season, meaning when Dame turns 35 years old, he's going to start getting paid $60 million a year annually. Now, this is all assuming that the Portland Trailblazers want to continue building around Dame. So, aside from trading Scoot Henderson, how could you build a championship contender around Dame? Well, it looks like the Portland Trailblazers made their biggest move of free agency, because to be honest, following this, they can't really make any other moves. According to Adrian Wojnarowski, Shams Charania, and every single insider out there that is covering free agency, the Portland Trailblazers just signed Jerami Grant to a huge contract. You might be wondering how huge. Well, take a look. Free agent forward Jerami Grant and Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul have agreed on a 5-year, $160 million deal to return to the Portland Trailblazers, sources tell The Athletic, and the stadium. Guys, it takes a lot for me to say something is a tremendous overpay, and I really try to exercise each and every option before going out and just vaguely calling things an overpay. You need to understand, I don't have a lot of optimism in the Portland Trailblazers front office. Historically, I think they've made some really strange decisions. I want to start by saying that I am happy for Jerami Grant for getting a significant amount of money. And this is nothing against him for getting that money. That is generational wealth for him and his family. And ever since coming into the league, playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, then playing for the OKC Thunder as a role player, then really taking the step up with the Denver Nuggets and then the Detroit Pistons, to see him go from a player that was averaging single digits in his early 20s in points per game to the player that he is now, averaging near 20 points per game, is awesome. And from that standpoint, I'm very happy for him. I did everything I can to ensure, and I'm not just saying something boneheaded here. Jerami Grant is a phenomenal modern stretch forward in today's NBA. He is coming off of a season where he is shooting 40% from three, which is insane, by the way. One of the top 3-point shooters in the NBA right now. So the Portland Trailblazers probably want to lock that down because, well, this wasn't a fluke season for him. Last year, he shot 36% from three, the year before 35%, the 2 years prior 39%. I mean, very impressive stuff from Jerami Grant. With that being said, there's a lot of issues with Jerami Grant's game. The first issue is defensively, he's been a liability over the past 4 years. We're going based off of defensive box plus minus. A lot of that has to do with whether or not you're on a contending team. Well, even when he was with the Denver Nuggets during the 2019 to 2020 season, he was a defensive liability. Not a significant one, but he still was one. And his offensive production doesn't necessarily make up for it. If you look at his points per game averages, you might be saying,
Mike, he averages 20 points per game. That's awesome.
He has an OBPM of 1.2, which means his total BPM is negative 0.2, and this is the past year. Now, the year before on Detroit, he was a little bit better, a 1.2 overall BPM. The year prior, he was at a 1.1, and then when he was on Denver, he was at a negative 0.5. His value over replacement player isn't a significant number. He's at about a 1.0 value over replacement player, which stands for robust algorithm player tracking and on-off ratings, which measures the number of points a player contributes to team offense and team defense per 100 possessions relative to a league average player. Jerami Grant ranks 127th, putting him in the same league as Dylan Brooks, Luke Kennard, and Gabe Vincent, with players like Monte Morris, Kevin Love, Grayson Allen, Bruce Brown, Larry Nance Jr. all ahead of him. And with this being said, I would have a huge reservation in regards to paying Jerami Grant this amount of money. Now, bear in mind, the salary cap is increasing by 10% each and every year on average, but you're pretty much paying Jerami Grant the same exact amount John Morant is getting paid, well, give or take $1 million if we're going to be really exact here, until he's 34 years old. And that's it for the Portland Trailblazers. They don't have cap space for anything else. That's their big move. This is how they're building around Damian Lillard. That's it. They had an awesome draft, by the way. You get Scoot Henderson, Chris Murray, Rayan Rupert, and you bring back Jerami Grant, who in the 1 year that was with your team helped contribute to you getting the number number 3 overall pick when your star player was on the floor. Is that the definition of building a contender around Dame? Come on, no, it's not. So I don't necessarily know what the next move is for the Trailblazers. If they're trying to build a team around Scoot Henderson, I'd say something completely different here. If you're trying to make sure Scoot Henderson has good role players around him to ensure that he could develop his game and grow his confidence, this is awesome. I mean, from a spacing standpoint, you have Nurkic at the 5, you have Jerami Grant spacing the floor, you have Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson. I really like that starting 5 for a rebuilding team that's trying to develop its players. From a contention standpoint, no, it's terrible. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about all this? Do you think this is an overpay? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.